Quarterback is the most important position in football. In the past decade, we've witnessed two major things happen on that front: the cementing of a legend and the beginning of another. Both in search of the same thing: immortality. Mahomes at 30 has 3 rings, 2 MVPs, and looks unstoppable. Brady at 30 had 3 rings, an MVP, and also looked unstoppable. Then Brady's knee exploded in 2008, very similar to what just happened to Patrick Mahomes in 2025. What happened next separated Brady from being great to being the GOAT. The next decade will answer whether Mahomes understood what Brady learned. Brady at 31 was coming off a 16-0 record, 50 touchdowns, the most explosive offense ever seen. Week 1, 2008, that all changed. ACL tear, season over, and career in question. Mahomes at 30 is coming off of 3 rings, but the cracks are starting to show. His 2019 knee injury was a warning shot. Now Mahomes in 2025 is also coming off an ACL tear. The stats through age 31 look pretty similar on paper. Both were amazing QBs making impossible throws, but one understood that it wouldn't last forever. Brady's release in 2007 averaged 2.6 seconds, right at league average. He was holding the ball, hunting the perfect throw. Mahomes' current release time sits at 2.8 seconds, still hunting the big play. The eye test shows the difference. Brady started getting rid of the ball faster after the injury. Mahomes will have to wait and see. Brady's pressure to sack rate dropped from 18% before the ACL to 12% after. He learned to feel pressure and eliminate it before it arrived. Mahomes' pressure to sack rate still hovers around 20-ish%. He's taking hits he doesn't need to take. Brady's checkdown rate jumped 15% after the injury. He stopped forcing throws downfield when the underneath route was open. Mahomes' checkdown rate has increased as his career has progressed, but he still likes to hunt the big game, even though he's not as accurate as he used to be on it. But here's the thing, both quarterbacks entered their 30s with pretty much identical resumes. 3 rings, MVPs, the respect of everyone who watched them play. The difference is what happened next. Brady returned in 2009, but something was different. The deep ball percentage dropped, the quick game became surgical, and he wasn't trying to be Superman anymore. He was trying to be efficient. Mahomes is at that exact crossroads right now. He can keep playing hero ball, keep extending plays, keep attempting to make the highlight reel throws. That works when you're 25 and your body recovers overnight. It doesn't work when you're 35 and every hit compounds. Brady's 2010 MVP season tells you everything. He threw 36 touchdowns against just 4 interceptions. His yard per attempt was 7.9. He wasn't doing less, he was doing it smarter. The ACL injury wasn't Brady's end, it was the beginning. It forced him to understand that the game isn't about how far you can throw or how long you can extend the play. It's about processing information faster than the defense can react. Mahomes has the arm talent Brady never had. He can make throws from angles that shouldn't be possible, but arm talent doesn't win championships in your late 30s. Processing speed does. Pre-snap recognition does. Getting the ball out before pressure arrives does. Brady learned this at 31, Mahomes is 30 and the clock is ticking. The next 10 years will determine whether Mahomes joins Brady in the GOAT conversation again, or whether he peaked early in his career. The blueprint is there and Brady showed exactly how to do it. Master the boring stuff, win the pre-snap battle, protect yourself, take the check down, and live to play another snap. 3 rings by 30 is incredible. 7 rings by 45 requires understanding what Brady understood. The superhuman stuff won't survive in your late 30s. Brady returned in 2009, but the transformation wasn't immediate. He was still figuring out who he needed to be. He won MVP in 2010, made another Super Bowl in 2011, but the real shift happened in 2014, and it started with everyone writing him off. The Patriots opened 2-2. Brady looked washed after a blowout loss to Kansas City. The narrative was everywhere. He was done. At 37, Father Time was just undefeated, and the Patriots had just drafted his replacement in Jimmy Garoppolo. Then something clicked mid-season. Brady's pre-snap reads became instant. He wasn't waiting to see what the defense did anymore. He was telling them what they were gonna do before the snap. His release time dropped to 2.2 seconds on average. The ball was coming out faster than it had in years. Not because his arm got stronger, but because his brain got faster. The Seahawks Super Bowl became the virtuoso. 37 completions, 328 yards, 4 touchdowns. But the numbers don't tell the whole story. The key stat is the 2.2 seconds average release time against the Legion of Boom, the most physical secondary in football. The game plan was simple. Take what they gave you every single time. No hero ball, no forcing throws into coverage, just math. The Seahawks wanted to play physical, press coverage, and dare Brady to hold the ball. He refused. Quick slants, quick outs, screens to running backs. The ball was gone before their defensive backs could even get their hands on receivers. Malcolm Butler's interception gets replayed forever. Brady's surgical dissection of that defense in the fourth quarter set it up. He completed 13 to 15 passes on the final 2 drives. The Seahawks couldn't touch him because he wouldn't let them. This is where Brady's evolution became clear. In 2007, he would have tried to beat them with his arm strength, launch the ball down the field, trust his receivers to win contested catches. In 2014, he beat them with timing and precision. Brady's footwork is perfect. 3 steps, ball out. 5 steps, ball out. He knew where he was going before the defense did. The Seahawks were playing checkers. Brady was playing chess 3 moves ahead. His completion percentage in that game was 69%. Nice. But the real number is his success rate on third down. He converted 8 of 14 third down attempts. Every time the Seahawks thought they had him stopped, he found the open man. 2007 Brady would have tried to dominate these defenses and prove he was the man for the job. 2014 Brady tried to make the defense irrelevant. If you can't get to the quarterback, you can't stop the offense, and if the ball is out in under 2.5 seconds, you can't pass rush. That's the lesson Mahomes needs to learn. You don't have to beat defenses with your arm, you can beat them with your brain. Process faster, decide faster, throw faster. Brady's 2014 Super Bowl run proved something critical. You don't need to be the most physically gifted quarterback to win championships. You need to be the smartest, the most prepared, and the most disciplined. Mahomes has the physical gifts Brady never had, but Brady had something Mahomes is still developing: the ability to make the game boring. The check down to the running back for 6 yards beats the scramble for 15 because the scramble also risks the sack for -7. But Brady wasn't done learning lessons. He wasn't even close. He started the 2016 season suspended for 4 games with Deflategate. The entire football world questioned whether a 39-year-old quarterback could come back from a month off and still compete. And he didn't only compete, he dominated. He returned and went 11-1 as a starter. His passer rating was 112.2, the highest of any quarterback that season who had played more than 12 games. At 39 years old, he was playing better than he did at 30, and he finished second in MVP voting. Then came the Super Bowl against Atlanta and the reigning MVP, Matt Ryan. Down 28-3 in the third quarter, the biggest deficit in Super Bowl history, most quarterbacks would have panicked and started forcing throws or tried to be superhuman. Brady became a surgeon with a scalpel. His second half stats were insane. 26-33, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nothing really over 15 yards down the field though. Every completion was exactly where it needed to be, exactly when it needed to be there. His pressure to sack rate in that game was 8%, and he was getting the ball out in under 2.1 seconds. The Falcons couldn't even sniff him. Their pass rush was elite that season, but that didn't matter. The ball was gone before they could even get home. This is exactly where Brady's evolution almost reached its peak. Every throw was on time, every decision was instant, and he's not reading the defense during the play, he read them before the snap. Edelman's catch and James White's touchdown sealed it, but what gets forgotten is Brady's pre-snap adjustment on 3rd and 10 a few plays before that Edelman catch. He saw the Falcons were blitzing and audible to an out route for Chris Hogan, and the ball was out before the safety could rotate. That's the difference. Mahomes makes the impossible throw after the play breaks down. Brady made the play break in his favor before it even started. That's thousands of hours studying film, understanding defensive tendencies, and knowing exactly where every defender would be based on their alignment. The comeback wasn't heroics, it was inevitability. When you take what the defense gives you every single time, eventually they run out of answers. The Falcons kept waiting for Brady to force something, and he never did. He wasn't trying to win the game with one throw, he was winning it with 26 consecutive correct decisions. Fourth quarter, down 16 points, Brady completed 8 straight passes, none of them spectacular, but all of them perfect. The Falcons were playing prevent defense, trying to keep everything in front of them. Brady took exactly what they gave him, death by 1,000 paper cuts. The game-tying 2-point conversion came on a 2-yard pass to Danny Amendola. The route was precise and the timing was exact. Overtime, first possession, Brady completed 5 to 6 passes for 75 yards. The Falcons' defense was exhausted, demoralized, and broken. They had just spent 60 minutes trying to stop him, and he just kept coming. James White scored the game-winning touchdown on a 2-yard run, but Brady's completion to White a few plays before that moved them into position. A simple swing pass that gained another first down. Nothing fancy, but straight execution. This game became Brady's defining moment because it showed everything he had learned. The 2011 version of Brady might have tried to force things and pat the ball too long. The 2016 version won it with his brain. Mahomes is capable of this. He's shown flashes of it. The 2022 playoffs, when he played through a high ankle sprain and couldn't move, he played more like Brady. Quick decisions and a faster release, and he did it more so in 2023 as well when his team led the league in drops. But when he's healthy, he reverts. Like he did a lot in 2024 and 2025. The scrambling, the off-platform throws, the hunting for explosive plays. And it didn't really work this year or late last year. Brady's 28-3 comeback wasn't about talent, it was more about discipline and trusting the system. And with that, Brady still had more lessons to learn the next year, losing to a backup in the Super Bowl. Brady threw for 505 yards in the Super Bowl, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but he still lost. The strip sack on the second to last drive gets replayed as the moment when they lost. Brandon Graham beating the tackle, knocking the ball loose, ending New England's chance at back-to-back titles. But that's not the full story. The real story is what Brady learned from that loss. You can't win alone, no matter how near perfectly you play. Football is a team game. The Patriots defense gave up 41 points. Brady's time to throw averaged 2.3 seconds, and that didn't matter. The Eagles got pressure with 4 rushers, and when they did, there was nowhere to go. His completion percentage was over 71%, his yards per attempt was 8.9. He did everything a quarterback is supposed to do in a Super Bowl, but the defense couldn't hold. This is where Mahomes is at right now. He can throw for 300 yards and lose because his defense collapses. He can make every throw, hit every read, execute the game plan perfectly, and still watch the other team celebrate on the field. Brady's response to that loss defined the next phase of his career. The defense couldn't hold, the offense had to be perfect. Not just great, but perfect. Every possession has to matter, and every drive has to either end in points or milk as much time as possible. There's no room for quick 3 and outs. The 2017 Super Bowl taught Brady something that he hadn't fully understood before. Efficiency isn't enough if the team around you fails. You can take every check down or make every right decision, play the game the way it's supposed to be, but you can still lose. The loss could have broken him, and at 40, after throwing for 505 yards, which was a Super Bowl record, in losing, most quarterbacks would have questioned everything, but Brady did the opposite. He decided to come back even more efficiently. But the 2018 season became more about controlling the clock, field position, and the game so completely that the defense never had a chance to collapse. His time of possession numbers in 2018 were the highest of his career, long, methodical drives that kept the opposing offense off the field. If they can't score, then they can't beat you, and that was the math they played by. The Eagles' loss also taught him about vulnerability. The strip sack happened because the pocket collapsed. At 40 years old, he couldn't escape like he could at 30, and he had to eliminate trouble before it arrived. Brady learned that at 40, and Mahomes is being taught this at 30 after coming off that Super Bowl loss in 2024. The question is whether he learns it in time. The 2018 Patriots won 11 games despite looking mortal. Brady's arm strength was clearly declining, his deep ball completion percentage dropped to a career low at that time, and the narrative was back. He was finally done. At 41, the cliff had arrived. But something else was happening. His quick game became unstoppable. The Chiefs' AFC Championship game tells the story. 30 of 46, 348 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. The stats look okay, but definitely not great, but the eye test showed mastery. Every throw was on time, every throw was on target, and every throw was exactly where it needed to be. He was hitting Gronk and Edelman on pretty much every third down late in that game in order to take it to OT and then to win it. His pressure to sack rate in that game was 6%, the lowest of his career at that point in time, and he was getting the ball out in 2 seconds flat. This is what peak Brady looked like. Not explosive, but efficient. The Rams Super Bowl a few weeks later became the ultimate test of this philosophy. 21 of 35, 262 yards, and 0 touchdowns. The lowest scoring Super Bowl ever. Brady's EPA per play was still plus .38, above league average. He didn't need to be spectacular, he just needed to be efficient while the defense dominated, and that's the final form. Understanding that your job isn't to win the game, your job is to not lose it. Let the defense win it if they're the ones dominating. The Rams had the best defensive line in football, Aaron Donald, and Ndamukong Suh, Michael Brockers, elite pass rushers who could wreck a game plan, but Brady made them look pretty irrelevant. Quick checkdowns and screens to running backs, and hitting Edelman as often as possible until he had that one over-the-top play to Gronk. The ball was out before the pass rush could get home, and you can't sack what you can't reach. The game plan was pretty simple, just take what they give you and move the chains. Don't turn it over and let the defense do its job. The Patriots won 13-3, Brady's stat line looked ugly on paper, but in reality, it was perfect execution of a game plan designed for a 41-year-old quarterback who understood his limitations at the time. This is where Mahomes is headed, whether he knows it or not. Patrick in 2025 still has games where he can throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also had games when he forced throws, took unnecessary sacks, and put his team in bad positions. The highs are higher than Brady's ever really were, but the lows are lower than Brady's final form allowed. The 2018 season proved Brady's final evolution was almost complete. He wasn't trying to be the best quarterback in the league anymore, he was trying to be the most reliable, the most consistent, and probably the most boring. Boring wins championships when you're 41, and boring keeps you on the field when your body can't do what it used to. But that final mastery came in Tampa for Tom Brady. Brady at 43 joined a 7-9 team, won the Super Bowl in year 1, not because of his arm, but because of his brain. The Bucs offense was talented but chaotic before Brady arrived. Jameis Winston threw for 30 touchdowns and also 30 interceptions the year before. Tom had thrown for 40 touchdowns and 12 interceptions with those same weapons in 2020. The difference wasn't talent, it was pre-snap mastery. His audible rate in 2020 was 42%, the highest of his career, and he was changing the play at the line pretty much half the time, reading the defense, identifying the weakness, and exploiting it before the ball was snapped. His pressure to sack rate was 9%, which is elite for a 43-year-old, and his time to throw averaged about 2.1 seconds, faster than most 25-year-old QBs. The Bucs had the weapons, and Brady had the processor. And the Packers NFC Championship game showed what an all-time 43-year-old looks like. 20 of 36, 280 yards, and 3 touchdowns, just surgical destruction. Aaron Rodgers, the reigning MVP, threw for 346 yards on the other side, but that didn't matter, because Tom controlled the game. Long drives, clock management, and taking what the defense gave them, all while not letting the Packers defense get off the field until Tom Brady decided to hit a bomb. Then came the Super Bowl against Kansas City, Brady versus Mahomes, and the passing of the torch everyone expected, except Brady wasn't passing anything except touchdowns. 21 of 29, 201 yards and 3 TDs. Mahomes on the other side went 26 of 49, 270 yards, 0 touchdowns, and multiple interceptions. Mahomes was running for his life all game. The Bucs pass rush was relentless, and he was scrambling, trying to extend plays and trying to make something happen. Brady was standing in a clean pocket, delivering on time. This is the blueprint. You don't have to be the best athlete, you just have to be the smartest processor, and he identified where pressure was coming from and got rid of the ball before it arrived. Mahomes was playing backyard football while Brady was playing a completely different game. The touchdown passes really tell it. 8 yards to Gronk, 1 yard to Gronk, 6 yards to AB. Nothing really explosive, but just precise. The right throw at the right time to the right receiver. Brady's completion percentage was over 72%, while Mahomes was hovering at 53%. That's not really luck, that's mostly preparation, though Mahomes did have an awful O-line because everybody was injured. That's also understanding defensive tendencies. That's thousands of hours of film study really paying off when it mattered the most, and the blueprint was complete. Let the other person beat themselves. Mahomes has the talent to do this, and he's shown flashes. The question is whether he commits to it before his body forces him to. Mahomes can create his own path. The next 10 years don't have to look exactly like Brady's, but they have to look different than his first 10. The superhuman stuff won't survive in his late 30s, the scrambling, off-platform throws, and hunting for explosive plays. It works until it doesn't. One more injury, one more big hit, and that could pretty much be it. 3 rings by 30 is incredible like we mentioned before, but 7 rings, which is what he's chasing, he's gonna have to do something different. So there you have it, what Tom Brady understood that Mahomes doesn't. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you're new.